What up, y'all? Hey, I'm gonna tell y'all a little story. Hang on a second. Let me scoot this back. I'm gonna tell y'all a little story today. I don't know if I told it in the past or not. I can't remember because like I said, I've made 800 videos in just like 5 months, 6 months. But y'all remember I showed y'all where I flooded my dad's house out that time? I'll tell y'all something. My poor old daddy, man. Golly. I'll tell y'all what I did in high school one time. Uh, and I'm working on this uh some new equipment too. So y'all bear with me if it's got some problems or whatever. But so my mom married this guy when I was about 10. He was a farming guy. They had a big farm. They deer hunters, big outdoorsmen and stuff. And well, my stepdad, man, they rode horses and stuff too. Cowboys, farmers, all that. And man, they throw parties. I'm talking about big ones, boy. I mean, they'd have 20 or 30 people, and they played guitars and stuff. So that I grew up around that. So by the time I was 15 or 16, they'd have a big party. I'd invite my friends over. We'd be slipping around into people's coolers, out of the back of their truck. Anyway, so when I got a little, 16, 17, 18, my mom and them, they didn't have no problem with us drinking as long as we stayed there at their house. That was the rule. Y'all, like me and my buddies, could drink, have a little party, bonfire, whatever, but everybody had to spend a night. You know, but we was having a prom party one time, and I got suspended from school, couldn't go to prom, and so I was just like, and my parents were gonna be gone. And what was crazy was somewhere in my teens, um, we were real big into riding four wheelers a lot, and my dad ended up buying a four wheeler from my stepdad's brother, and then my dad started hanging out with my mom and my stepdad. It was kind of weird, but it was cool. I mean, they got along. My stepdaddy was cool, and they would go riding and drink and stuff, and I'd go with them too. With everybody. It'd be a bunch of people. Well, on this night we was having a prom party. I guess my mom and them my or whatever, they was going to get out of the house, to give us some space to have a party or whatever. So they like went out clubbing or whatever. It was my dad and my mom, my stepdad. They were all went out clubbing, and my dad had loaned me his car. He had an old 90 something 95 model Buick Delta 88. And like I said, where my stepdad lived, there was a big field around it, man. I mean, a huge, probably 200-acre field or better. And they had just plowed it, getting ready to plant for the spring. And we was partying at the far end of the field down there, and that dirt, man, it was just hell. When was walking in it, you just marring up to your ankles because the dirt was so fresh, and it just was it was tender, and so anyway, we got a bonfire going, got a keg of beer, there's tons of people there, and we partying down, and I get tore up and decide that I'm gonna get in this car of my daddy's, and a front wheel drive car, you got to put it in reverse and to get it to do a donut. It ain't like a rear wheel drive. You can do donuts or whatever, but if it's a car, you can still do donuts. You just got to put it in reverse and get it going backwards and cut the wheel. So I'm out there in this field, man, and there's about three people in the car with me, and we just doing donuts. I mean, just first of all, I should have got my ass kicked for messing up the farmer's plowing. That's one thing you don't do. But anyway, I'm doing these donuts, and it blows the front passenger side tire. It blows it up inside the fender well. It blew the tire, but instead of it coming off, it blew it up inside the fender well. Like, yeah, it. So I just shut the car down and cut it off, and then couple hours later, we're all up at the house, and getting ready to pass out or whatever. My mom and dad, all of them come home, And I said, "Hey man, I got a flat on the old car down there where we was partying." He was like, "Oh, that's all right. We'll change it in the morning." Now I didn't. I failed to mention about all the donuts and stuff I did. I just said we had a flat. Man, I remember the next morning I was laid in there sleeping drunk. I got my daddy, boy, get your ass up. Told me it had a flat, and then I went down there with him, man, and look, all you could see was these huge circles in this field, plowed field, where I was doing them donuts, and then where the car stopped, and the damn man, needless to say, it was not easy for them to jack that car. You know, it was some trouble to get it fixed, and but yeah, I used to act wow, oh man, oh me. But yeah, I used to throw, man, I'm telling you, I know everybody says, you know, whatever, but I'm telling y'all, in this little town that I lived in, I threw the best parties, man. Um, yeah, I seriously, I remember one time I had a party, a pool party, and and I remember walking out, I was just like scoping the crowd out. You got to do that if you throw a party. You got to, you know, see who's there and stuff because, you know, you might have some people roll in that you don't want there or something, you know. And so I remember rolling out through the crowd, and man, there was people like 40-year-old, 50-year-old and stuff that was at this party. And I was like, man, what y'all doing here? And they was like, shit, we heard there was a party. And I was like, all right. And, but yeah, man, I tore the old cars, blowed the tire plumb up in the fender well, man. But anyway, hey man, I just want to get on here and holler at y'all, try out this new stuff, see what's going on with it. But all right then, y'all. In the fender well, man. But anyway, hey man, I just want to get on here and holler at y'all, try out this new stuff, see what's going on with it. But all right then, y'all.